Welcome back to the Brotherhood Blitz, where digital playbooks meet real passion. Every week, we break down the storylines, the strategy, and the pure chaos that only a simulation league can deliver. And the best part, you can jump into the action yourself, create your player, get recruited through the league's Discord, and watch your journey unfold live on Twitch as you battle teams across the league. I'm here with my brother and co host 409K, and we're about to break down all the action.
It's gonna be a great episode. We got playoffs, end of the regular season over with, and now every game matters.
You're right, every game matters going into the playoffs now. It's win or go home, as we had a crazy regular season, but now we're into even crazier playoffs, and we're about to get jump into last week 9 recap, real quick. But yeah, I'll let you start off on the week 9 recap.
First game of week 9, rivalry week. We had East Carolina taking on Louisville, and Louisville getting the win 28-13.
Yeah, a light rain, light breeze game, not ideal situation. But yeah, Louisville coming on top, 28-13.
It's a game that East Carolina kind of had to win to have even a remote shot of making the playoffs, and Louisville able to put that story to rest.
Yeah, so congratulations to Louisville and congratulations to ECU. Not the ideal season that either team wanted, but um, you know, had a coaching switch during midseason for ECU, and they looked pretty good. The second half of this season. So uh, excited to see what Captain Rush does. Next season as he is now officially head coach and will, I believe, bring in a new team.
I believe it is. I won't go into too much detail on that, but yeah, we have a few coaching changes that we'll get into later in the episode.
Going on to Miami taking on Florida Atlantic, in which Florida Atlantic needed that win, kind of. They got in the playoffs regardless, but now they are number 10 seed, as we'll get into the seedings later. But Miami taking that one 44-32.
And that is a game where I would say both teams at that point in time had the playoffs, you could say locked up more Miami than FAU, but FAU, seeding wise, I mean, that's a game for seeding. Miami getting, uh, getting the win in pretty solid fashion.
Oh, for sure. And with FAU losing that, I'm not sure if they were to win that game, if they would have a round one bye. But either way, seeding was definitely um, you know in play for this game, and Miami definitely overtook that uh, challenge.
And we'll get into the next game as Arkansas getting the win over Mizzou 48-24, and not the season that Mizzou wanted going 0-9.
Yeah, they had one more shot of trying to get a win this season. Came up short. Um, you know, they had a decent season. There was a couple games in there they played really well. They played great against Hawaii. They almost, upset Hawaii, which would have been massive. They had a few good key moments this season, and so you know they need to look at those moments and take what they can into the off season and regroup, go back to the drawing board, and come back next season stronger.
And I just think the team needs time to develop. Uh, Being a new team, most times out of none, those teams have a weaker roster, and you normally have a harder time recruiting than some teams that have a proven history in the league. So, regardless, Arkansas getting the win and clinches a playoff spot.
Yeah, clinches indeed. Is that would have been a tough loss if they lost to Mizzou.
Uh, tough is an understatement. But we'll get into the next game as Georgia versus Alabama. A very big rivalry with Georgia getting the 20-10 win over Alabama.
Yeah, a great IRL rivalry as well. You got two teams that were out of the playoffs, just kind of playing for bragging rights really, and Georgia taking that one 20-10.
And that was also, I believe, Georgia's second win on the season as well.
Yeah, I think you were right on that. So congratulations Georgia, and congratulations to Alabama as well. They not the season they wanted, but just like these other teams, they'll regroup, go back to the drawing board, and come back next season stronger.
And going into the next game, as Texas took on LSU in the Battle of the Border, as Texas gets upset by LSU 48-30 in a game that, as the Texas head coach, not a game that we were wanting in the regular season on.
Definitely not a game we were wanting, but also not a game we were expecting. Congratulations to LSU. They had a great game plan going into it, and yeah, overtaking us 48-30 and a pretty big statement win going into playoffs.
I mean, the game was close, for the most part throughout that first half. Is second half, LSU came out, you know, swinging, and there you go. Like I said, we gotta give props to them.
Yeah, props to them, and yeah, Texas LSU, turning out to be a great rivalry as both these teams have some pretty good history.
Especially at least since I've been in the league, we've had some really, really close games.
Going on to Hawaii versus Michigan, in which was actually a very good game, probably the best game this week, as Hawaii, barely escapes the upset over Michigan, 41-39.
And if I'm not mistaken, I didn't catch really at all of this game, but from what I have heard, Michigan could have won the game on a field goal, but decided to go for the touchdown instead and didn't get it. If anyone's listening and I'm wrong, be sure to, say I'm wrong in league chat, but Michigan had a chance to win that game.
Yeah, and if that's true, that's tough to swallow. And yeah, that would a field goal would have won them that game, and that would have been a great statement win, and that could have pushed them into maybe a playoff spot. But yeah, it's a tough way to lose the last game of the regular season.
And going on to the next game as Maryland takes on Rutgers, a battle of two playoff teams already basically locked up. It's kind of fighting for seeding at that point as Maryland takes the 41-30 win.
Yeah, definitely a game that seeding is in play, and Maryland coming out on top, pushing them to a round one bye.
And going on to the final game of the regular season, the first snow game of season 7 so far, or the only snow game of season 7 so far, as the one of the biggest rivalry in the VGL as Virginia Tech takes on North Carolina in a light snow moderate wind game and winning 40-28.
Yeah, I had a pretty busy week, so I didn't catch this game as I definitely wanted to watch it live, but uh, yeah, not a game that I expected. I was expecting very low scoring. So hey, props to Virginia Tech for finding a way through the light snow and the moderate wind to put up 40 against a very tough North Carolina team.
And looking at the stats, Virginia Tech was just really able to run the ball at will at times. And I kind of think that time, that and along with the, time of possession, they were able to put up that amount of points and keep it uh, under 30 for North Carolina.
Yeah, so that was the recap for Week 9 rivalry week. Uh, yeah, our Brotherhood Blitz game of the week is going to be that Hawaii Michigan game.
It's not even close.
Yeah, it's not even close. That was I mean the closest game of this week, and um, that would have been a big upset if Michigan pulled it off. So yeah, definitely no doubt game of the week.
And now, end of regular season over, let's get into some playoff talk.
Yeah. So before we get into the upcoming matchups, we'll talk about the seedings first, and then we'll go to players of the week for uh, last week. But yeah, congratulations to VT over that statement win against a very, like I said, very tough UNC team. Puts them at number one rank. So um, definitely, uh, definitely deserved.
Hawaii will stay at 2 and will get the second seed in the playoffs with a first round bye.
Coming in at number three, you got Texas. Texas, coming off a loss against LSU, bounced out of number one, so they don't have, um, I guess you would call it the technical bye. Playing one of the play-in
Playing
teams,
games.
um, but nonetheless have a round one bye if you call the play-in teams round one.
And then number 4, we have Miami getting a nice win over FAU will secure them the 4 seed.
Number five, you got Maryland. Maryland coming off a win against the Rutgers to clinch that number five spot.
And you got UNC at 6, the loss to VT pushing them down a few spots, and they'll get a very tough matchup.
Coming in at number seven, LSU coming off a great statement win against previous number one Texas, moves them up from number eight to number seven.
And seed number 8, Arkansas, uh, getting the win over Mizzou. They don't move up too much, but they do have a somewhat better resume than some of the teams behind them, so they'll be at 8.
Number nine, Rutgers, uh, previous number eight, I think. I'm not sure
I
what
can't
their
remember, to be
previous
honest with you.
ranking was, but they are number nine after a loss to Maryland. Puts them in a play-in matchup.
And the final seed of the playoffs, securing the last spot of season 7 playoffs, will be FAU at number 10.
So yeah, congratulations to this season's playoff teams. It was a hard-fought battle to get uh, a spot in this playoffs. It's going to be a tough playoff this season.
I definitely do agree with that. And a lot of key matchups on both sides to kind of look out for.
Oh, for sure. Um, with that being said, before we get into the matchups, let's talk about and congratulate the players of the week for Week 9.
And, they haven't officially came out league wide, but for the Brotherhood Blitz and our picks, we'll go over who's on the ballot and who's our picks to be player of the week. And we'll go into the offensive ballot. You got Monty Parsons II, QB of Maryland, J.J. Brady, QB of Michigan, Carter Washington, wide receiver for FAU, Michael Woodard for QB for Hawaii, Damon Williams III, wide receiver for Michigan, Jeremy Harrison, wide receiver for Maryland, Xavier Dawson, halfback of Miami, Ryan Downey, halfback of Arkansas, Montezuma Popico, halfback of Virginia Tech, and Quentin Milkman, tight end for Hawaii. Then you got defense. You got Itachi Kanoshi, DN of Arkansas. D. Shmoney, cornerback for LSU. Key West, middle linebacker for Michigan. Chance Leak, strong safety for Miami. Justin Henry, middle linebacker of Georgia. Tyler Judge, free safety for Louisville. Tyler Jones-Drew, middle linebacker, Virginia Tech. Putting work, outside linebacker for Maryland. Ezekiel Lehman, defensive tackle for LSU. And Raylan Crenshaw, free safety for Maryland.
Then we got special teams: Andrew Powell, wide receiver of Texas; Corey Edwards, cornerback of Florida Atlantic; Gavin Lucier, halfback of Hawaii; Gregory Reynosa, cornerback for Mizzou; and Bam Bam Rubble, cornerback of Michigan. So congratulations to everybody on the ballot. We are sorry if we mispronounce your name, but like I said, congratulations. And Brotherhood Blitz Player of the Week for offense. Congratulations to J.J. Brady, quarterback of Michigan, with uh, 40 completions for 48 attempts, 520 yards with an average of 10.8, and 5 touchdowns.
A heck of a game to end the season on.
Oh, for sure. And anytime you get 5 touchdowns and over 500 yards in a game, it's definitely a great game you had. Going on to defense, congratulations to D. Shmoney, cornerback for LSU, with 3 tackles, 2 interceptions, 2 deflections, and a pick six.
Yeah, the two interceptions were key in getting the upset win over Texas, as well as taking one back to the crib.
Oh, definitely. And, as both of those interceptions played a huge, crucial role in the momentum of that game.
And going on to the special teams player of the week, our Brotherhood Blitz special teams player of the week is going to be Gavin Lucier, halfback of Hawaii, with 6 kick returns for 159 yards with an average of 26 and a half, and one punt return for 11 yards with an 11 average.
Yeah, so congratulations to everybody on the ballot, as well as our picks. Like we said, they're not official, you know, for the league, but as Brotherhood Blitz, those are our picks. And yeah, now we will move on to Season 7 playoff matchups.
Oh boy.
Yeah, so we got two playoff or play-in matchups. Technical round one. I'll let you kind of start off the first one.
Now we're going to start off with we'll start out from the top. Seed 8 Arkansas taking on Seed 9 Rutgers. The winner of that will advance to go play VT, number one ranked team in the playoffs. Could go a few different ways. Arkansas, I think, has the better team on paper, hasn't had the greatest stretches during the season. Rutgers, kind of wishy-washy at times, but a very, very good run game. I'm going to take Arkansas to win that one.
Yeah, you got overcast, light breeze, so weather's not too bad. Um, both of these teams can be pretty explosive. Um, but Rutgers coming off a loss to Maryland, Arkansas coming off a win against Mizzou. Rutgers gonna look to have a vengeance come playoffs and move on to round two against VT. But I think Arkansas is going to be too big of a bridge to cross, and I think Arkansas is going to take this one and move on.
We'll drop down to the other playing game. You got seed 7 LSU taking on seed 10 FAU, in which LSU's been hot as a recent on I believe, a 3-game win streak currently. FAU has, I believe, like won one, lost one every game this season.
I believe you're right.
So if odds continue to go that way, they win this game.
Well, actually, they would have had to beat Miami. So they are on a, I believe, 2-loss streak.
You might be correct on that.
Yeah, they lost to Virginia Tech in week 8 and
Ah,
lost to
yeah,
Miami in week 9.
yeah. Well, I stand corrected on that statement. I do think LSU takes this one. The firepower that they've had recently, especially on the offensive side of the ball, and be able to kind of be dynamic in terms of defense in the secondary and the front lines. It's going to be a tough task for FAU to pull off, but I got LSU winning this one.
Yeah, I agree. It's going to be a tough task for both teams, as we just got the news not too long ago that Bex is stepping down after this season. So this could potentially be his last game as head coach. So it's going to be interesting to see what he tries to do to get, I believe, his first round one win. Uh,
Uh, at least as FAU, the past few seasons they've been bounced in the first round.
yeah, okay. So as FAU to get past round one. So it's a great matchup, but I'm going to agree with you. I think LSU is too hot right now, and they're going to get past Florida Atlantic and move on to face Hawaii.
And we'll get a bit more of that game here shortly. But we'll keep it at the bottom as number 3 seed Texas takes on 6 seed UNC.
Yeah, this game is going to be uh, quite the battle, as it is light rain and moderate wind. So definitely not ideal weather for either team. But like I said earlier, it's going to be a battle, and yeah, it's who can deal with the weather better.
I definitely agree. Weather makes this game a lot more unpredictable. Uh, I know Winley, if you're listening to this, I love you, dude. But you gotta know at this point that we're picking Texas.
Yeah, I believe I told him I'm just not going to pick.
I'll pick. I do think UNC has had better history against us, especially in the playoffs. The last time we faced in the playoffs was in season 5, round 1, where they came back and beat us.
Yeah, definitely a tough matchup for sure. It's you know on any of these teams in this playoff bracket you cannot overlook, and UNC definitely being one of them. So we're taking them serious. We're simming. It's going to be a great game, but yeah, I got obviously Texas.
Yeah, Kate is shown that she can out game plan you better than anyone in the league, and her recruiting has shown that, and building some of these really great really great top end and deep teams to make some playoff runs. So they have a shot at beating Texas, and we'll see come Thursday.
Yeah, going on up, you got Hawaii taking on either LSU or FAU. And as we both had LSU over FAU, we'll start with Hawaii versus LSU, in which we don't know the weather yet. Still waiting on that. But yeah, I think, to be honest, I think LSU has a better shot at beating Hawaii than FAU does. Um, so I think I'm going to pick LSU over Hawaii.
I was actually going to say the same thing. I like LSU a little bit more on paper than I uh do Hawaii. I think they have a little bit deeper of a team and a better defense, especially in the secondary. So if LSU were to beat FAU and go on to face Hawaii, I got LSU over Hawaii.
Yeah, and just to keep it fair, let's say if FAU was to pull off the upset and beat LSU and move on to Hawaii, we have a matchup between Hawaii and FAU, in which that case I would have Hawaii over FAU.
I also agree. But you gotta think if FAU can beat LSU,
That is very
You
true.
know, they should realistically have a chance in competing with Hawaii, in which FAU and Hawaii have played this season. They played in week 2 where FAU lost by 3.
Yeah, crazier things have happened as you saw this whole season.
It just is crazy is an understatement.
But we'll move on to the next game. Uh, well, really, it's the first, I believe, first game of round two. Kind of jumping around a little bit, just kind of looking at the bracket here. But you got Maryland versus Miami, and which is a great matchup.
It's a great matchup, and both these teams have actually played already this season. They played them back in week 4 where Miami won 40-13.
Yeah, played earlier in the season. Miami was in a completely different book, though, so keep that in mind. Um, and you got moderate wind, so you know Maryland has shown that they can compete in these big games as they have upset teams like UNC.
Yeah, they've shown that they can win the big ones as they've beaten FAU, they've beaten VT, beaten Rutgers. They've beaten some playoff teams. Now, they have lost to UNC losing 37-17, and they have lost to Miami losing 40-13. Their only two losses on the season are, 27 and 20 in terms of point differential. Hard to say. I do think the weather kind of plays into the style of offense that Maryland runs. But I do think the firepower that Miami has, especially on the defensive side of the ball, is going to be a little bit too much. So I got Miami.
Yeah, I agree with you there. I think Miami is uh, too big, uh, of a threat for Maryland. I could definitely see a situation where Maryland can find enough plays to pull off the win and move on to round three. But yeah, just kind of on paper and looking at the matchup itself in whole, yeah, I got Miami over Maryland.
And going on to the final matchup that we're going to cover is VT, the number 1 seed, can take on the 8 seed Arkansas or 9 seed Rutgers.
Yeah, we believe we both had Arkansas over Rutgers, so we'll go over VT versus Arkansas first, in which I think it's also a great matchup. Uh, but I do believe Virginia Tech will be taking that one over Arkansas.
This would be the first time these teams have seen each other this season as well.
Yeah, Arkansas has
I
shown that they can compete with the big teams. A lot of close games with them, taking Texas to overtime. Uh, you know, beating Hawaii. I believe they beat Hawaii. I'm pretty sure. Um,
Yeah, Arkansas beat Hawaii.
yeah, so uh, they've definitely shown they deserve in the playoffs, and you know, their team is definitely better than how where they are ranked.
Yeah, they had a rough start to the season. They started 1-3 through the first 4 weeks of the season, going on a 3-game losing streak from week 2 to week 4. And then they won a pretty big one against ECU, lost to Michigan, but they're on a 3-game winning streak currently. Um, so it's tough. Rutgers, on the other hand, has had a pretty solid season. You know, started off 2-2 in the first 4 weeks of the season, lost to FAU by 3 scores, then went on to win, 3 straight games against UGA, Miami, and Bama. They say they have a good win against UNC in week 4 as well.
Yeah, Who do you got versus VT and Rutgers?
Between VT and Rutgers, I think VT beats both of them, if I'm being honest.
I agree. Yeah, I agree.
A lot would have to I'd have to see the weather also to really make a viable statement on that, but it just going off of talent difference, VT has been a top team in the league all season.
Yeah, they definitely have worked very hard to get that number one seed. Um, but there is a downside to being number one and number two. Is
You have less time to game plan.
you do not know your opponent until 2 days before your game. So it's
But it's also goes the same for the other team in a way. But then like after if you have your game plan, let's say Arkansas and Rutgers in this instance. If Arkansas has their game plan for Rutgers already, they can just go ahead and start game planning for VT in the case that they beat Rutgers, then they already have some extra sims for the next round if you're
uh,
smart.
yep, exactly. And VT would have to just sim against both.
Or and sim against one team and hope that team wins. You're not royally screwed and sim for the team the loser.
I believe that happened last season. One team simmed for a team they thought was going to win, and then it ended up being an upset. And yeah, I don't remember who it was
I think
though. I
I,
don't
I
remember
think
who it was.
it was Miami when Hawaii and FAU faced in the play-in game and Hawaii upset FAU.
Ah, yes, yes, yes. I remember now. Uh, yeah.
How
So
true that actually is besides the point. But going based off of what was said, it's happened before.
but yeah, that's round one and round two. Um, so basically, yeah, you got play-in teams, and then round one being quarterfinals. It's gonna be great games to watch. You're definitely gonna want to tune in on Twitch, um, as playoffs is very exciting.
And it's always exciting. They're always high energy games, a lot on the line, obviously, due to it being win or go home. Defending champions LSU has a shot to repeat. So we'll see what happens, and it's gonna be a very very great playoffs, and I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm also very excited. It's definitely Texas looking to get revenge, against their two losses this season, who have made playoffs with Hawaii and LSU, and they get a shot at potentially one of them, unless FAU beats both. It's going to be interesting,
Or or we lose to UNC.
or that could
then
definitely happen
or
too.
then it don't even matter.
That could definitely happen too. But like we said, playoffs are very tough this season, so you can't overlook anybody. So we're
Can't look
really,
ahead either.
yeah, you really can't. Um, so we're definitely eyes on UNC as they're a very good and worthy opponent. Um, Excited to play them, and excited to see how these playoffs unfold.
And I believe that is all we have for this episode, if I'm not mistaken.
I believe it is a little bit shorter of an episode as we are just kind of hit the 30-minute mark not too long ago. But I do want to touch one thing. We got an exciting thing coming up. It's a little rumor right now, nothing set in stone. But I do believe we will have a special guest coming soon. We're going to have a little special episode for the championship game. It's going to roll out right before the championship game. So we'll, it's not like a recap kind of thing. It's going to be a kind of a short little episode as we will just be talking about the matchup and who we got to win it all, and it'll be exciting to do it with our first official guest of the podcast.
Yeah, I'm excited. We'll keep it under wraps for the most part right now, and we'll have some some hype graphics potentially. We'll talk a little bit about behind the scenes,
Yeah,
but we're excited.
yeah. I don't want to say who the guest will be, but just know it's going to be very exciting, and y'all will love this guest.
But with that being said, that's all we got for our Week 9 recap and going into the Season 7 playoffs. And we can't wait to see what all unfolds. But we appreciate everyone for tuning in. If you like what you have been listening to, give us some feedback. And you can DM my brother or I with any suggestions or feedback on episodes and for future episodes going forward. But we love you all, and this is the Brotherhood Blitz.